This is Dirshu MB as we continue learning the halachas of halakas aneira. Siman Reish Samach Gimel. We're in the middle of Sif Aleph. The Ramah at the end of Sif Aleph continues and he says, "Oisha sheshalcha b'amachas lahalik." A woman that forgets like candles one time, she's very unique halacha. A halacha unique to halachas of halakas neirais, which is she has to malekes kol yomei shleisha neirais the rest of her life. She has to light 3 candles. You're able to add on something for something else. As long as you don't do less. So says the Mishnah Berurah, we're discussing that she normally lights 2 candles. But explains the Mishnah Berurah, let's say she lit 3, they have to do 4. Let's say she gets many times. Each and every time you add another candle. It's all a fine. Why? Why are we giving a fine? Says the Mishnah Berurah, we want it to be more scrupulous in her Kavod Shabbos, therefore. And then, if there was an Einus and she didn't like it, and she was in jail, then, meaning, the Mishnah Berurah is explaining to us it's a Knas, or she should have lit. But if the scenario was such that she could not light, then there's no Knas. If she's a poor woman, we could be Mako when she forgets that what? She could have said a little bit of oil in the candle. Let's see, she lights candles. She just get a little bit of a larger candle. So the Rabbah is giving a little bit of a leniency over here, explaining to us that the situation is such that it's very difficult to light an extra candle. The Rabbah's case is because of poverty. Then she is able to add a little more oil, light a little bit bigger candle. Now, so before we move on to Sif base, let's see some of the Dirshu. So Dirshu begins, note number 11, discussing something we saw in the previous year. We're different minhagim. 10, 3, says the Dirshu, let's say the husband and wife have different minhagim. Says Rav Azler Shevet HaLevi, even though the woman is not able to obligate her husband to spend money for her extra candles, still the Baal is not able to stop her from lighting extra candles. If she wants to light more, she's allowed to. And Shevet Levi adds on that since the Neir Shabbos are there for what? Shalem Bayis. Really, it's befitting that the husband should allow his wife, Linoy Kfiya Minhaga, even though it's his money, but he should allow his wife to do that which she wants, because that's included in Shalom Bayis. And now the reason everyone adds on another candle per child, I'm sure many people are wondering, the Mishnah Berurah said 3, the Mishnah Berurah said 10. Mishnah Berurah did not say a word about adding on a candle per child. So comes on the Dirshu and they quote the Lukutei Ma'arech, which is different minhagim, that says that since more candles are zeicha to children of Talmidei Chachamim, that's where the minhag came to add on candles each and every child. But definitely a fascinating trivia question. This is not something brought down in the Mishnah Berurah himself. We move on to Dirshu number 12 that discusses today's halacha, which is that if a woman forgets to light candles, we add on an extra candle as a Knas. Says the Dirshu number 12, and similarly, if she forgets that it's Shabbos, and therefore she doesn't like candles at all, says the Shevet HaLevi, she's part of the Knas because she didn't like candles. Dirshu number 13 continues and says, if at the time, and her mother lit candles, and she forgets to light candles, you're a guest somewhere and you forget to light, and of course, if we're talking about a case where she had her own obligation, she was going to go home, etc., says Rav Moshe Feinstein, we just lost the page, I apologize, says Rav Moshe Feinstein, she has to add on a candle, there is a Knas. On the other hand, says Rav Vosner, that in this scenario, there's no Knas. Why? Because the Sarchei Bayis is not mutaled upon her, because we're talking about a scenario in which she is at her mother. Now, what about a man that has to light candles? As we're going to see, the obligation of Neiros Shabbos are both on men and on women. So let's say a husband has an obligation to light, whether it's a single man by himself, a husband away on business, etc., etc. Says Rav Vosner, if he forgets, there's no Knas. Why? Knas was only set upon women. Why? Because they are usually the ones that light candles, because upon them is mutal the tzarchei abayis. Chaim Kanievsky Paskins the same. Now this is a very famous next Shaila, quotes Tavkuf Yodalid, that over the Dirshu discusses what happens if you get to light candles on Yontif, and we'll just point out that there are kulas. Now, let's say so we pointed out that she could just light bigger candles. Says her Niskarelitz, that you shouldn't do that. We see you should not go smaller in that which you light. Now let's say in the summer she lights smaller candles than the winter. Says Rav Niskarelitz, that's allowed, because that's how she always lit, and she's not going and changing her minhag. And even though the summer nights are not equal to the winter nights, but they're doing it maybe because of it's too hot, etc. And he adds on over there, why? Because the larger candles are bothering you. Meaning, if there's a reason that you're changing, then it is not a problem. Now, let's say a woman who wants to change her minhag and she wants to light more candles than she used to, that are equal in weight to the larger candles. Says Rav Minchas Yitzchak, even though the Neiros Ketanim go out quicker, still she's allowed to do it as long as it's Tanai that she does it at the time of the Suda. So he said that she should be, okay, now we move on to Sif Beis. Says the Mechaber in Sif Beis, Echad Anoshim ve'echad Noshim. Allah that we just pointed out, now we get to see it inside. Both men and women, says the Mechaber, Chayav and Lios Bebateim, they're doling with Shabbos, everyone should have candles lit for Shabbos. If someone has nothing to eat, we see the extreme nature of halakas de Shabbos. Go begging for food and buy oil, to light the candles, because this is part of Oineg Shabbos. Says the Mishnah Berurah, you're starving. Because you should go beg for food. The Kaim says Kiddush v'gam Ikar Suda Shabbos. It's a mitzvah for Kiddush. It's a mitzvah of the Ikar Suda Shabbos. But what are we talking about over here? You have nothing to eat from your own. Meaning, you get supported from tzedakah. Still, you should find some money in order to buy Nirei Shabbos. Now, let's say someone has very, very precise monies. Mitzvahs, Lechem, Usuda Shabbos come before anything else. Ner Shabbos comes from before everything after that. So first is the Lechem, Mishnah. Then is the Ikar Suda, then is Neiros Shabbos. Even though other foods that you put out your Suda, of course, are Basu, Gamki, Bechlal, Einek Shabbos, Kamakim, Ner Adiv, Yaiser, because of Shalom Bayis, or Shalom Bayis, Chamanu. Mio, ever Misham, Ner, Dai, Ner Echel Echad. We can't forget what we saw in Siv Aleph. The Ikar Mitzvah is one Ner. The rest of the money shoots for food. But Shabbos should do something. The Chavay Shabbos. Fine, Mamashik is something that allows in Reish Beis, B'Mishnah, Brura, Al Psachim, Sivkot, and Yodu, Ikar, Eineg, Suda Shabbos, and Mio, however, in Tzarch Lazeh, Rak, B'Shvel, Nerechad, as we saw, this is only to have one singular candle. Says the Dirshu note number 15, even though the Maisa Halakha is mutal on the woman, says the Shevet Levi Rav Osner, the Chiyav to spend money on it is on the Baal, on the husband. And therefore, the husband is obligated to go begging to buy Nirei Shabbos for his wife. And similarly, if someone has a guest that is Mishtatev in the Suda, the husband has to use that extra little bit to buy him a little bit more oil so he can be Mishtatev in the Nirei Shabbos. And we'll begin Sif Gimel. Hanoshim uzaros b'yoser. Why is it halak is neiros a mitzvah on the woman? They should be choose by because she's home or commonly. She deals with the tzarchei habayis. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Hanoshim uzaros if katin irav afilim yirtza abal lahalik batz. Let's say the husband wants ha'isha kaidemes, his wife comes first. If there's many candles, they both can light. She led and she is pregnant. The first Shabbos after giving birth, the husband can let him make a bracha. When he do so, she makes the bracha for herself. Why? There's another reason, but we're going to stop over here. Let's just see two more Dirshus, note number 16. Let's say there are many rooms, says the Bir Halacha, the woman can light in one place with a bracha, and the husband is allowed to light in other places, but without a bracha. For the Hiddur Mitzvah, says the Graz, it's better that the man light the other rooms. Bismanenu, that we know we have electricity, that's the ikr. Says Rav Yashiv, the woman should also turn on the electricity. Why? Because that's considered part of the lighting. So she should first turn on the electricity, then light her neighbor Shabbos, then make the bracha. Now, if the husband wants to light more after his wife, put on other lights, then he is able. Rav Baruch Frankel's note number 17, they quote over here, since why? Because she can't get up from her bed. Meaning the reason why we said you let the husband light is because the woman is bedridden. She just gave birth. Therefore, the husband lights and he adds on the fizem. When we tell us, of course, it's better to bring the candles to the woman, let her light on her own. Bismanenu, if a woman is in the first Shabbos after giving birth, she's in the hospital, says Yashiv, no hagin shadlikas and ears ba'atzma, she still is noyeg. Excuse me, if she's home, of course, we don't go to min and go what the Mishnah Berurah said, and rather she lights on her own. Now, if a woman is not home or she's not able to light, says Rav Yashiv, her daughters, Banois Abayis, the older daughters, they come before the husband to light. Why? Because they're also part of the Isaac and the Sarkei Abayis. We see over here that the obligation of Halakha's neighbors goes part and parcel with the preparations of the house. And therefore, if the woman cannot light, her older daughters come first because they ate in the house. Mr. Karelitz is not so sure whether the husband's better or the daughters are better. And only by maybe a husband is indeed better, or maybe the daughters are better. Why? Because they were the ones that help in the house. But says, so basically we're seeing we can go either way. But if his daughter is married and staying by her parents, says Rav Yashiv, then she comes first, she makes the bracha, then the daughter lights afterwards. And it's only children are home, says Rav Yashiv, says Rosh Zaman, it's better that one of the daughters lights before the sons. Why? Because again, the Sarchei Abayis are mutal upon them. And we will stop over here and we'll pick it up from the middle of Sif Gimel the next year. B'siyata Dishmaya.